Okay, so the first step to freezing your corn, of course, is to prepare the corn. So the first thing we're going to need to do is shuck the corn. Basically that means take off all this outer stuff. So what I do is I just kind of dig through the top tassel, divide it in half, and then you pull from the tassels all the way down. And then I take the other half, and I'll pull that half all the way down. And once you get all the way to the bottom, you can break it off. And there you go. Very few of those little hair things left. It's pretty clean looking, and the rest of them will come off when we go to wash the corn. Just use a scrub brush, kind of like a toothbrush. Okay, so now that we have our corn all washed, the next step in the process is called blanching. First, we're going to dip the corn into boiling hot water for 4 minutes. Exactly 4 minutes. Set a timer and make sure you count it, and we're going to do it in batches. We're going to do about 4 cobs, and I'm going to use my tongs here to kind of like turn them over to make sure all of the pieces, all of the corn does get into the hot water during this time. And then after the 4 minutes is over, what I'm going to do is take them out of this water and put them into some ice water to cool them down quickly. And then we'll be ready to cut them off the cob. So we'll do this in small batches and continue to do this until they're finished. So 4 minutes in the hot water, and then it doesn't really matter how long they're in the cold water, just long enough to cool them down. Okay, so now that the blanching is ready, we're ready to prepare it for the freezer. Before I move on though, the reason the blanching is so important is because that it helps reduce the enzymes that are in the corn, and actually this helps to protect the flavor and the vitamins that are in the corn. If we left, the corn raw and then tried to freeze it that way, the enzymes would stay alive in the corn, and they would actually cause the vitamins to deteriorate faster. So this helps to protect it and make sure it all stays good. So now we have 4 options basically. We can pat the corn dry and then just throw them in gallon-sized freezer bags and then be done with it right there. The second option would be if we wanted to freeze the corn into like small little whole corns. We would basically cut them in half, and then we would freeze those smaller ones that way. The third option would be to cut the corn off of the cob with a knife. Now, cutting the corn off of the cob like this is going to make cream corn, because as we're cutting the corn is round and the knife is flat. It's actually going to cause some of the kernels to get cut in half, and that is what causes the corn to be cream corn. So, not that that's bad, but if that's what you want cream corn, then just go ahead and cut off the cobs, the kernels off of the cob. Okay, so this fourth option, the whole kernel corn, is the one that I'm going to demonstrate. The reason is that's just the kind of corn that I wanted to make today, and also because it's the least straightforward. So, the corn cob obviously is round. So in order to make it to where all of the pieces get cut off without any being cut, what we need is some kind of a knife or whatnot that is a circle, and that's what this little gadget is. I got this at a thrift store and it works really well. It has these teeth on the one side that cut the corn off of the cob. There's probably other gadgets that are similar to it, but this is just the one I like the best. And it expands so that, whatever size of corn it is that you're cutting off the cob, it makes a nice little circle and cuts off the cob evenly. So what we do is we start at the top, and we basically start cutting it in a circle, and it comes off, as you can see, in whole kernels. So we continue on until we get to about halfway, maybe a little more, and then I switch and then go the rest of the way till the end. It seems a little tedious at first, but it's actually pretty easy, straightforward. You just go one corn cob after another and strip them all off, and you end up with nice, perfect little whole kernel corn. I like to use a pan with a nice high side to it because the corn does tend to like to run off. But it works out pretty well, and then you stick it in a zipper bag and put it in the freezer. Okay friends, there you go, how to freeze corn 4 different ways. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.